Hey everyone. So this is my round 3 game, which I'm sure you've all been waiting for. Waiting eagerly, I would add. And it's against a fella called Robin. As usual, the time control for the game is 90 plus 30 minutes. And this is the game that should not have been. Ooh, very mysterious. And the reason, I'll explain the reason why this game should not have been played. But what I'll do is I'll show the game first, and then I'll explain what happened and, what ensued. But I played, I opened with c4. I have the white pieces here. So I opened with c4, which is explosive. And he played c6. And already, the computer doesn't like that move. It's doesn't really grab the center. Usually you play e5 or c5 here. Like that. And take control of the center squares. But since he didn't take control of the center squares and didn't stop me from playing d4, I played d4. He played knight f6, developing his knight. I played knight c3, developing my knight. And he played d5, which attacks the center. He's now attacking my c-pawn. But this is quite common. The opening we're playing here is the Queen's Gambit, with Queen's Gambit. And he can either accept or decline the gambit. I played bishop d4 here, so it looks like he can take a free pawn here. And the computer actually doesn't, the computer actually thinks it's one of the better moves in this position. But if he takes the pawn, I play e4. This opens a discovered attack, and that also now I have a very nice pawn duo. And if he wants to defend his pawn, he has to be careful because now he's not developing any of his pieces. I'm just going to keep developing here. Probably something like queen c2 or something, or even knight f3. Oh, not that move. Jesus, that'd be terrible. Yeah, queen c2 is fine. Or knight f3. So, capturing the pawn doesn't really give him much in terms of an advantage. The computer says it's still about even although he's up a pawn, and that's because I've got much better pieces. I've got a pawn, two pawns in the center, and he's only got one piece out, so that wouldn't be too good for him. But instead, he played bishop f5. He just wanted to develop a piece instead of capturing the pawn. I played e3, which reinforces this pawn and also defends my c-pawn. And he played e6. These are all the solid moves. Knight to f3, developing my knight. Knight to d7, developing his knight. Bishop e2. And after bishop e2, he played c captures or d captures on c4. And the reason he did that after I moved my bishop is because when I recapture, I've moved my bishop twice now. So it's just a small detail. He could capture immediately at some point. Sorry, not like that. Say I just do something else. He could capture immediately if he wanted, and once I recapture, I've moved my bishop out in one move. So it would save a tempo for me. But I still want to develop my bishop, right? So I'm gonna move it, and then it's only at this point he captures, so I have to move my bishop twice. Queen to c7, lining up with this pawn here. And after castles, he played bishop to d6. Now he's got a battery attacking the h-pawn, which isn't too dangerous at the moment because I have my knight here defending. But I just need to be wary because at some point in the future, not in the next 2 or 3 moves, but maybe in 5 or 10 moves, this knight could get attacked or could get taken or might have to move. And if that ever happens, then my h-pawn would be attacked, with check. That wouldn't be good. Well, it would be good for him, I suppose. So I played rook to e1, and I had 2 ideas when I played this move. First of all, I'm putting my rook in the center behind my e-pawn, which is just a good location for the rook. But the second thing is, I thought he might castle here, which looks very natural, especially since the king is lined up with my rook. But castling is a blunder here. And when I played rook to e1, I didn't think he would castle here. I thought he would see the threat, and I thought he would just do something else, prevent the threat and then castle next move. And I only played rook to e1. Well, I thought maybe in one in every 10 games or 1 in every 20 games, somebody might actually kind of fall for the trick if they put a bit of thought into the game. But a common theme, not only in this game, but also I think basically all of my games that I played, is my opponents did not use a lot of their time. If I actually look at my notes now, at the time he played um, castles, which is the losing move, he actually had more time on his clock than when he started the game. So he started on 90 minutes, and I actually started on 82 minutes because I came in late. Uh, by the time he played castles, he was on 91 minutes. So he had actually been playing so fast that he was banking all his 30 seconds of increment and not actually losing any time. So that's not good. Well, it's good for me. So yeah, so I hope with that preamble, and once you will realize that he actually did castle in this position, which is a blunder. And if you want to pause your video, try to find the winning move or the winning sequence of moves that wins a piece for white, or for me. So if you paused and you found it, great. And if you didn't, shame on you. So the winning move here is e4, and that's the move I played. The reason this is winning is because, first of all, I'm attacking his bishop, and this gains a tempo for my pawn. So I moved my pawn, and it made a threat. So it's almost like it's a free move, because now he has to react. He has to do something with his bishop. He can't do something he'd normally want to do, like develop his rooks to the center. He now has to respond to the threat. And after bishop g6, which was played, I get to play e5, and this has a fork. This hits with a fork, and now he's going to lose a piece. So he played knight to d5, and I took a free piece. That's good. And he recaptured with the queen. And then this is a human approach. This may not be the best thing to do technically, but the very human approach here is just, once you're ahead material, start trading. So I'm up a full bishop. So I want to just simplify the game. So I captured his knight on d5. He recaptured, and my bishop's attacked here, so I moved it back. And after this, he played f6. Never play f6, but this attacks my bishop. The reason you don't want to play moves like f6, or move pawns near your king in general, is that it weakens squares. So beforehand, the f pawn was defending the e pawn, and it's also defending the bishop, but now it's not. And one thing you learn when you're playing chess, you realize the significance of when you move a pawn, you can never move it back. And that's why you should be very careful when you're making pawn moves, especially pawns that are near your king. Now, in this position, you could argue he's losing anyway, so it doesn't really matter what he does. But yeah, that's a good principle. Just don't. A lot of people want to make pawn moves that attack pieces, even if it leaves them long term. Positionally long. He's going to be in a bad spot long term here. But whatever. He attacked my bishop, so I moved it. I saw that. Nice. He played rook or bishop to e4. I played rook to c1, put my rook on the open file, and my rook is the last piece that wasn't really doing anything. So now I'm fully developed. I've got all my pieces doing stuff. All my pieces they're decent. My rook is probably here. It's probably my best piece. The bishop is okay here. It's not doing great now. It's biting on granite. It's biting into these two pawns. But at some point in the future, if I can ever open up these two pawns, which I should be able to do, then my bishop is lined up with his king, which is just lovely. He played b6, and I played bishop to c2. I want to trade off for his bishop and simplify the game. But then after f5, I made maybe a strange looking move. I moved my bishop again. Now you'd kind of figure to yourself, well, if you moved your bishop to, if you move your bishop to c2 to capture his bishop, and he doesn't move his bishop, why don't you capture his bishop? Well, the reason I moved it away is because, first of all, I can now trade out for this knight if I want to. And the second thing I noticed, this is the main thing I noticed, is that his bishop doesn't exactly have a lot of squares to go to. All these squares, well, soon this square will be defended once you see my idea in action. These squares are defended, and vitally he can't retreat, can't go back because his own pawns are blocking him. So after I played bishop to a4 and he moves his knight, then my idea comes into effect. I play knight to e4, which not only is just a beautiful square for the knight that can never really be challenged, but also it has a threat. So again, if you want to pause your video here and see what my threat is. So he played queen to d8 here, so I can win another piece here. So if anyone wants to pause the video and find it, if you did, well done, and if you didn't, again, shame on you. F3. So never play f3 for the same reasons you don't play f6, because you're weakening squares. But in this case, I'm winning a full piece, and I'm already a piece up, so I'm not too worried about my king's safety, because there's nothing he can really do to attack it. So he realized here he's losing his bishop. There's nothing he can really do. He can capture my f pawn if he wants, but he didn't do that. He moved a pawn on the side, so I took his free bishop. And here he's completely losing anyway, and this may be just a bit of a moot point, but I feel like if he wants to have any chance of winning here, or even getting a draw, or doing something, he needs to capture with a pawn, probably the d pawn, to give himself a passed pawn. So now, in some lines he might be able to advance this pawn and try to make a queen. I suppose I'm probably being a bit picky here, because there's nothing he can. There's no way I'm going to let him make a queen or get even close. But I feel like this is the only thing you can really try. But he didn't play that. He played knight takes. So again, this doesn't give him a passed pawn, and now I can trade off for this piece. And if he ever moves that piece, now his all of these 3 pawns are pretty stuck. He can never really move this pawn because I'm blockading it, and even if I move my knight, my pawn defends that square. So no, his pawns are stuck. That's why I thought he should have captured with a pawn, because otherwise his pawns are just stuck. I played rook to c6. I'm putting pressure on all these squares. He played queen to e7, which defends this pawn but undefends this pawn. And probably a lot of people here would take this pawn, but I'm already up 2 pieces. I don't need to win more material. I wanted to concentrate on just keeping my king safe and making sure he didn't have any weird checkmating attacks or any way to get back into the game. So I played bishop back to c2 again. Second time playing bishop c2 in this game, both for the same reason. He played queen to h4. He just wants to start trying to checkmate me. That's never going to happen. To checkmate me, he needs to have a few active pieces that are making threats. And I figured in this position, well, besides his queen, the only other active piece he has is the knight. So I just took his knight. Now he can't do anything. Sorry. Oops. What have I done? I played bishop to e6, which blockades his pawn, so he can't move his pawn now. Rook to f5, because he wants to play rook to h5. He wants to play rook to h5, or so I thought. Rook to f1, and he just defended his rook again, which I don't understand. I mean, he should. It wouldn't work, but he should. What have I done? He should just play rook to h5 here and threaten checkmate, and then I don't know. That's probably a fine move. h3, and then he doesn't have anything, but I don't know. And then maybe he could play something like, not that. He'd probably try to get his other rook into the game, and I don't know, do something. But yeah, he didn't do that. Instead, he played g6, which is not the best move. Although he's losing anyway, so I traded off the pieces, and queen to c1 is the last move of the game. It's not the last move of the game because he resigned. What actually happened is the arbiter came over and informed my opponent Robin that he should have been playing on the board next to me. So what had happened is my actual opponent hadn't showed up, and he read the pairings, and he should have gone to board 43, but he went to board 44, my mistake, where I was playing. And it's just a coincidence that he misread his board, and also my opponent didn't show up, which is just very unlucky for him. But when the arbiter informed him that he should have been playing on the board next to me, he was a bit upset, and he ran out of the room. He actually did run out of the room as well. So that was quite funny. So I just got the forfeit win, as in officially this game was never played. I just get I actually beat a different guy that wasn't Robin on the formally, but I wanted to show this game anyway because this game was still played, and for all intents and purposes this is the game I played to win round 3. So I suppose it's a bit reassuring, right? Even if I'd lost this game, even if my opponent had the white pieces here and I had the black pieces, at this point the arbiter comes up and tells me I actually won, as black, which would be great. So I could actually, I was guaranteed winning anyway. So that's kind of fun. But I hope you enjoyed that game, and I'm going to try to make game 4 very quickly as well because I have a day off. Yes. All right. So I'll talk to you all soon, and thanks for watching.